Please put your hands together for Director of Chapter Relationships, Tiffany English.
Hello, First T family. It feels so good to be back with all of you. These past 5 years have been filled with ups and downs and twists and turns. And through it all, we've had so much to be thankful for. But we've also had to say some very tough goodbyes to members of our First T family. Over the past few months, many of you have shared the inspiring stories of these coaches, staff, board members, alumni, and even participants. We are dedicating this session to their memory.
Okay, this one's for Gabby.
clouds are far behind. Be
lemon drops high above the chimney top. That's where you find me, oh, somewhere over the rainbow, way up high. And the dreams that you dare to, why, oh, why can't I?
It's been a long day without you, my friend, and I'll tell you all about it when I see you again. We've come a long way from where we began. Oh, I'll tell you all about it when I see you again. When I see you again.
Damn, who knew? All the planes we flew, good things we've been through. That I'll be standing right here talking to you about another path. I know we love to hit the road and laugh, but something told me that it wouldn't last. Had to switch up, look at things different, see the bigger picture. Those were the days, hard work forever pays. Now I see you in a better place. See you in a better place. How can we not talk about family when family's all that we got? Everything I went through, you were standing there by my side, and now you gon' be with me for the last ride.
It's been a long day without you, my friend, and I'll tell you all about it when I see you again. We've come a long way, from where we began.
You know, we started.
Oh, I'll tell you all about it when I see you again.
I'll tell you.
When I see you again.
Thank you, everyone, for helping us honor the memories of our First T family members. Today, we choose to celebrate them for the amazing impact they've had on each of us.
We want to thank each of you for being here with us today and taking time away from your busy days as we all continue to learn and grow. I want to give a special shout out to our chapters that have traveled the furthest to get here. Australia, Morocco, Puerto Rico, Hawaii, First T Canada and all its provincial chapters, starting with BC, Ontario, Quebec, and the Atlantic. Please stand and be recognized, all of our chapters that have traveled the furthest. Give it up.
Hopefully, you have been able to chat with some of our alumni and participants that are here this week. They have come from around the country to participate in the Innovators Forum and Alumni Summit, like Marcus Freeman from First T Greater Charlotte. Marcus has been with the chapter for over 7 years.
A junior in high school, Marcus is rocking a 4.4 GPA as a dual athlete, competing in both high school golf and swim teams. He is an accomplished violinist and earned the lead position in the Charlotte Symphony Youth Philharmonic.
Marcus speaks fluent Japanese and has earned a few honors for his proficiency in the language, and recently won 3rd place in a racial justice essay for a piece he wrote about the life and legacy of Charlie Sifford and his impact on the game of golf.
First T has been a safe haven, a safe place for Marcus, having experienced several challenges over the past 3 years. The First T community helped Marcus persevere and inspired him to pay it forward. He is constantly seeking ways and out there teaching and mentoring others as a swim coach, a tutor, a Japanese instructor, arigato, and even a volunteer at First T. In his words, I felt a sense of pride that I was able to give these children the same safe environment that First T shared with me to have fun, learn, and grow. Without further ado, let's welcome Marcus Freeman.
Konnichiwa, minasan. Hello, alumni, coaches, participants, and First Tee leaders. It is a great honor to speak to you all today and share how the First Tee has and is impacting my life. Because of First Tee, I've learned many lessons and been a part of incredible opportunities. I've been able to compete in tournaments, participate in mentor programs, interact with and meet new people, and even attend one of the last remaining caddy camps in the world. Through all these experiences, I've learned a lot about myself. My passion for the game of golf has blossomed, and it is so much more than just sport. In August of 2020, right after lockdown, my mom convinced me to try a week of First Tee summer camp after not playing for many years. After that week, one of my coaches reached out to say I had some potential in golf if I put in the time. I started to take more classes and maybe even got a little obsessed with my game. But I also found a community and a second home at First Tee Greater Charlotte chapter. I started to spend as much time as I could on the course, practicing and volunteering at my chapter. I was building relationships with the coaches and participants, and it was really shaped me as a young man, and I feel more prepared for the future. One lesson I've learned here at First Tee is how to handle the bad days. I was so excited to be chosen for a tournament held by a professional golfer. I wanted to get out there and show my progress and hard work. The weekend came and I went out and shot a 103 and 95. I wasn't very happy. I bet some of you guys can relate. I didn't perform the way I would have liked, but that's what First Tee and golf help you learn. I learned about disappointment and overcoming challenges. My coach helped me realize that I won't always perform the best right out the gate, and that attitude and consistency during the hard times is one of the most important lessons to learn, help me reach my goals. I didn't give up and continue to work on all aspects of my game, mentally and physically. Because of my persistence and practice, I was given the opportunity to get back out there, keep playing in more tournaments, and attend a golf summer camp. The camps and support from coaches helped me get back on track in my game. It was in May of this year that First Tee shared an opportunity for me to attend Sankey Head Caddy Camp for 10 weeks in Massachusetts. It was the longest I've ever been away from home, and the skills I've learned from First Tee really helped me succeed in the strenuous days working at camp. It's not easy being a rookie in the caddying world. I know it was the skills from First Tee that set me up for success. Being able to listen to feedback and constructive criticism, sit with it, be uncomfortable, but then learn and improve helped me move up the ranks quickly. I have really enjoyed the opportunity to work with the younger kids and help them build the same skills that I have learned from First Tee. The kids are all so fun, a little crazy, and it is amazing to see them learn and grow. I get a little taste of what it's like to be a coach when I volunteer. And speaking of coaches, I may be a little biased, but I think Charlotte has some of the best in the world. They are my mentors. I look up to them and they feel like family. I'm so grateful for their example in my life. They demonstrate how to interact with new people. They show leadership skills and really just how to be a great person. Arigato, or thank you, to Daniel, Ian, Brittany, David, Mo, Cam, Kel, Caroline, Dan, Mark, Miss Tanya, and to everyone else that is part of the First Tee program. I would not be who I am without you guys today. You are truly shaping our futures. Thank you.
To the narrow, but I'll be hood forever. I'm the new Sinatra, and since I made it here, I can make it anywhere. Yeah, they love me everywhere. I used to cop in Harlem, all of my Dominicanos right there up on Broadway. Pulled me back to that McDonald's, took it to my snack spot.
All right, it's good to see everybody. I'm excited to be here today to present our inaugural First Tee Teacher of the Year Award, presented by GolfGen. I'm here with Ty Sams, managing member of GolfGen, and thanks to GolfGen, they've helped us bring our First Tee branded introductory golf equipment to all our school and community program partners. This award is an opportunity for our network to highlight an outstanding physical education teacher who goes above and beyond in delivering our school program and has an outstanding relationship with their chapter. Thanks to GolfGen, we'll be splitting $5,000 between our winning teacher and chapter. This year's winner, Neil Young, was surprised earlier this year at his school, Brentwood Elementary, in Wake County, North Carolina. Take a look.
Yeah, guys, several students here at Brentwood Elementary have been keeping this huge secret for a couple of weeks now, but finally today they were able to give their teacher this huge honor.
They said, "You're needed in the office. Please come immediately."
Congratulations to Mr. Young.
It was a special day here at Brentwood Elementary as First Tee students and staff surprised PE teacher Neil Young with the First Tee National Teacher of the Year Award. As you could tell, he was definitely surprised.
This has thrown me off. This was awesome. I'm glad that we have a lot of repeat sign-up kids that keep re-enrolling, so I guess we're doing something right.
It's the first year for the award, and Young beat out nominees from First Tee chapters nationwide. He's worked with the nonprofit for about 5 years now, and First Tee president and CEO Brandon Baker says he makes learning fun for his students.
On the pretty days, on the rainy days, he's always got a trick up his sleeve to make sure the kids are having a good time.
We sat down with a few of those students to ask what message they wanted to give Coach Young.
Thank you for caring for me outside of school and inside of school and being my coach. Thank you for helping me grow and learn more about golf and so much more.
Coach believes golf is more than putting and driving. He wants these kids to learn lessons that last a lifetime.
Neil was nominated by Gina Gatton from First Tee Triangle. Neil's passion for impacting our youth has shown through 6+ years of engagement with his chapter. Not only delivering the school program at Brentwood Elementary, Neil is also the lead coach for the chapter's Drive for Success after-school program. He brings a creative passion in delivering First Tee that ensures impactful experiences. The passion and consistency that Neil has helped showcase this exceptional relationship between chapter and school program partner. It's just absolutely vital to our mission, and we appreciate everything you do, Neil. We're grateful to GolfGen to highlight this partnership and this exceptional relationship. Thank you for all that you do, Neil, and congratulations to the First Tee Triangle. Please put your hands together again as we welcome Neil and Gina here on stage.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to get up on your feet and make some noise for our 2022 Innovators Forum participants.
Nothing gets adults going crazy like free t-shirts. Let's keep this excitement going. It could be such a rewarding experience being in a leadership capacity at a First T chapter. Quite honestly, I think everybody in this room knows that feeling we all receive when something clicks and a participant's face lights up, for whatever it may be. Personally, I can't think of anything better, and it's really why we're all here today. But as our next speaker puts it, nonprofits in general can be messy. Board members, it's not fun when your rockstar employee leaves or your fundraiser is going to fall short of its revenue goal. Executive directors, I could only imagine some of the stresses that you went through during the uncertainty of COVID. You had staff and families that relied heavily on your stability and leadership. Program directors and coaches, I'm sure you wish many times you could be in multiple places at once. As our next speaker gets it, Joan Garry is a national champion for nonprofits. She writes a highly successful blog for staff and board leaders, reaching over 100,000 folks monthly. Some of you guys are in this room. She also has a #1 nonprofit podcast on iTunes called Nonprofits Are Messy, and she is the author of Joan Garry's Guide to Nonprofit Leadership. And in 2017, Joan launched the Nonprofit Leadership Lab, which we partnered with earlier this year. The lab is an online membership site with content and community for board and staff leaders of small nonprofits. Joan began her career as part of the management team that launched MTV in 1981 and left corporate America in 1997 to fight for LGBT equality as executive director of GLAAD, one of the largest gay rights organizations in the United States. I ask that you give a warm First T welcome in introducing Joan Garry.
So, thanks, Tom. Thanks, everybody. You know, the more I learn about this organization called the First T, the more I admire it. Spending the evening with you last night, chatting with folks, I get it. You actually have a remarkable culture. It's collaborative, it's encouraging, and you actually live the values that you work to instill in the young people who are lucky enough to find their way to the First T. And today I actually consider myself quite lucky to have found my way to the First T. So what you are doing and how you do it, don't take it for granted. There are people who have been in this organization for decades. There's a reason for that. It's about the culture and it's about purpose. So, I'm not gonna lie, this is the first public speaking gig I have done since 2019 in front of real live people. And I wanna say that you're all walking around with this sign that says Game Changers. Actually, I just wanna reframe it for you. You're actually in the game-changing business. That's what you all do for a living. So I just want you to grab that and own it. So like I said, this is the first time I've been looking at real people instead of that little green light. And my little ballroom in New Jersey had only usually 2 living beings in it. And there they are. And they weren't usually very impressed with me. So the bar's low, I get that, but I also just want to say I should be able to impress you at least somewhat today. So, before all of you educated me about the power of this secret sauce of golf, and I heard it so vividly last night in the panelists. You know, there's one, I don't remember her name. She's going to be a rocket scientist. And she wanted to be a rocket scientist in high school. All I wanted was the female lead in Fiddler on the Roof. That's all I wanted. So some of you people, you put me to shame, really. But I thought golf, I'm a little skeptical. You know, I play golf. My parents played golf. In fact, my mom loved golf, and she played it well into her 80s, which is a cool thing about golf, right? We often played at a par 3 course on Long Island, not far actually from where Tom Lawrence grew up, oddly. And for 2 whole hours, my mother and I did not bicker. And we could have given a master class on bickering. So there's something I learned about golf. And then there was my dad. He also played golf until he didn't. He was kind of a steady Eddie kind of guy until he wasn't. He didn't like the inconsistency of his golf game. And this is probably the best illustration I can give you of why my father stopped playing golf. Now, this is not my dad's hand, nor is it my dad's club, because I would have been out of my mind to bring a camera onto the golf course to take a picture of my father in an anger management moment. So, wait, hold on, I'm going back. So, that's how I thought about golf, and now I think about golf very, very differently. Because I have heard your stories, and I've heard about the lives that you touch, like really touch. And holy smokes, do you all really understand how important the work you do is? Do you really understand how important it is, especially now? So I find it on your website, building the strength of character that empowers young people through a lifetime of new challenges. They've had a lifetime of new challenges just in the last 3 years. Resilience, perseverance, these are life skills. And you hand them to people every day. It's a big job. It's a really important job. And so as you get ready to go home, I know that you feel re-energized because you're together. And believe it or not, there are studies that show that when people are in physical community, their physical and emotional well-being improves. That's truth. What's also true is those same studies suggest that people in community like this make new things happen, that they're catalysts for change. They can be game changers, right? So, you know, Tom mentioned that I run a membership site with community and content for thousands of nonprofits in North America and around the world, and it is that community that fosters a sense of real kindred spiritness, and it's important. You've spent the last few days talking about the how, right? New approaches, how to think about fundraising differently, the digital divide. I'd like to go at a higher altitude with you and offer you some takeaways as you start to think about your travels home. So, this is me. No? Yeah, that's me. I was a little younger. This picture was taken before I took the helm at GLAAD. In 1997, I was 39 years old, and I thought I had it going on. You don't have your photo taken with your feet up on your desk if you don't think so. And I might add that this picture was taken before I reviewed the finances. Because this organization was in complete disarray. Let's not look at that picture anymore. During my decade as a nonprofit leader, I learned more than a few things about myself, my leadership skills, about what it feels like to do meaningful work. I thought I had never been luckier in my life. I also learned that a nonprofit organization has radically different DNA from a business. And that thinking about a nonprofit organization through the lens of hierarchy, like the one I lived in at MTV and at Showtime, it's not right. It's not quite right. I talked about this morning really briefly, but it's an important quick setup. Right? I want you to think about a thriving nonprofit this way, like a twin-engine jet with a high-functioning board engine, a high-functioning staff engine, and in the cockpit, two very, very happy people in the cockpit that I think should be looking forward and not backwards, but that's just me. So this morning in our session, that's what we talked about. We talked about life in the cockpit, didn't we? And we talked about the fact that the relationship between the executive director and the board chair is the single biggest indicator of a healthy nonprofit. And with this as a backdrop, I want us to move up. I want us to move to the how. I want to move us to from the how and offer you 5 pieces of higher altitude advice. Piece of advice number 1, I'd like you to raise your gaze. If I focused only on the financials at GLAD, I would have dug the car out of the ditch. But the magic happens when you create a destination, say 3 years out, for the destination you want to travel, the remarkable things you want to make happen. Because that's when you get the chance to tell stories and to invite people to join you on that journey. If you want to be a game changer, you have to think about 3 years from now, how are you going to change your own game? And then invite people to join you on the ride. Piece of advice number 2, you have got to be the world's best storyteller. A leader in a nonprofit organization, board, staff, client, volunteer. You must see yourself as an ambassador, and you must have current stories about the work, and you must practice telling them. Use a chunk of every board meeting to exercise your storytelling muscles, because stories are the key. They're Willy Wonka's golden ticket to open the door to inviting people to this party you call the first T, and inviting them to come close so that those people may be your next donors, board members, volunteers, staff members, journalists. Your job is to be in the invitation business. Use stories to invite. Value partnership. There are partnerships all over nonprofits. This distinguishes nonprofits from businesses. Not just in the cockpit, but between the staff finance person and the treasurer, between the development director and the development chair. You and donors are partners. You and corporate sponsors are partners. Think about value partnership. It's one of the things I feel you do very, very well. Next, make every dollar count. When I donate to the first T, I want to know that money was invested wisely. You have a responsibility to make that happen for me. If you look at an employee who needs to be managed out through the lens of this responsibility, you'll move more quickly. You'll prioritize, you'll say no more often, you'll be more intentional about your work and how you spend your time. It is a privilege to be given dollars from individuals who believe in your cause. Do right by them. And lastly, invest in sustainability, not just your organization's, but your own. Take the time to ensure that your infrastructure is solid so that as you think about the work, you can continue to reshape and expand your vision. Your car is going to be prepared to go a lot further, and if it does encounter a ditch, you'll have the resources, the partners to get it out quickly and be on your way. And I'm also talking about your sustainability too. You need gas in your tank. You get it from conferences like this, from resources like mine, right? These are great examples of self-care, and so too is getting home in time for dinner. These 5 pieces of advice are part of what I call the nonprofit impact wheel. It's something that I'm working on as a framework that'll become sort of the heart of the teaching that I do about the nonprofit sector. Right, we see, you can read, I don't have to read these to you, that there's 4 vectors, but what's really important as you look at this are these around the edges. Let me take it through you quickly, right? You have a vision, start up at storytelling. You tell a great story with passion, you engage people to participate. Engage people to participate and then build partnerships, right? Then you start planning. That's where you look at things like metrics, success metrics, strategic planning, problem solving. That's where you're really intentional about your impact. And then persistence, where you look at both organizational and personal accountability. And as you start to go around the wheel, right, the more intentionally you go around the wheel, the greater your impact, the more expansive your vision becomes. That's how it works. So, before I leave you, a few final words about First Tee as an organization in yet a broader context, as an organization that is part of the nonprofit sector. So, if I asked most folks to talk to me about the nonprofit sector, here's what if I asked them, so what do you think the nonprofit sector is? Here's what I'd hear, I think. Okay, so nonprofits are organizations, they have such nice people who work at them. They're really helper kind of people. And, you know, they're responsible for like museums and, I don't know, like animal welfare. And then they dig hard problems, like they advocate for legislation, for laws, and you know, they help kids who are aging out of foster care. They'd make a list, but they wouldn't put it all together. And I would actually like to challenge all of us in this room to be catalysts in reframing what people say when they hear that word. So, I'm going to come out as someone who watches the Jeopardy Tournament of Champions. And it is quite a sacrifice that I'm here because I missed last night and I'm going to miss tonight. I didn't want you to feel sorry for me or anything, but. So one night about 2 weeks ago, for those of you who are diehards, you might remember this is a category. The category was organizations. I thought, wonder what's going to be in that category. Turns out that the question for every answer in that category was, what is insert nonprofit here? Oh, I can put this thing down. Do you know what this thing is called? It's called a pickle. That's what they told me backstage. I thought it was called a slide clicker. What do I know? Wouldn't you call it a slide picker? Who'd call it a pickle? I do play pickleball though, and I love it. Okay. Where was I? Okay, so the category, Jeopardy. Categories, organizations. All the questions. What is insert nonprofit here? Okay? I was like, oh, that's what the category is about. And I found myself really annoyed. I said, organizations? That's what we get? That's what our whole sector gets, is organizations? And of course, then I started to think about what would I have called the category, right? Would I have called it nonprofit? No. I mean, the contestants would have known better, right? They would have known better what it was. But I don't like being defined by what I'm not. And I sure don't like being defined by some financial metric. Never liked the word nonprofit. So how would you title that Jeopardy category? The best I could come up with was the social good. Sounded very Alex Trebek. But the bigger question really is, what do you want the world to know about this larger sector in which the First Tee exists? And what role do you want to or need to play in changing the narrative? I did tell you that one of your most significant jobs was to be a storyteller, it's time for us to start telling the bigger story. I believe that everyone associated with a nonprofit organization is actually part of something bigger, and that at its very best, the nonprofit sector is like a compass pointing us all in the direction of a civil society. That's how I see the sector. It's why I bounce around at workshops and keynote speeches. It's why I blog, and it's why in no other setting would I refer to myself as an evangelist, but here, I am a nonprofit evangelist. So I leave you with this challenge. What do you want the world to know about this larger pond you swim in? We have a big fat role to play in that narrative. Of course you will talk about First Tee, the impact it's had in your community and on individual young people. But what if more people understood that our sector was the place to find meaning and purpose, the place to find hope in a broken and divided world? I'll tell you what if. I believe that a hell of a lot more people would get out of the stands and get onto the field to get involved with organizations like yours and the hundreds of thousands of others around the country that are doing the most remarkable work. I think if you said that, you'd have people at hello. Soon you will become obsessed with your email, and there will be fires to put out at your office. But do remember, there are kids that need you and a society that is desperate for what you do. So pack this sentence in your bag as you head home and keep it close. It's the best I could come up with. You are a leader in the nonprofit sector, and this sector is actually a movement to make the world more fair, more just, and more beautiful. And if that is not a motivator, if that is not a privilege, and yes, if that is not an awesome responsibility, I don't know what is. Based on what I have learned about your organization, you are all up to the challenge. Thank you very, very much.
First Tee's Leadership Award is a newly named award after former PGA Tour Commissioner and First Tee founder Tim Finchem. Thank you. Right. Tim, this award is appropriately named in your honor because of the exemplary leadership you have provided in founding and stewarding this organization for so many years. Would you please kindly stand to be recognized and start making your way to the stage? Have you help me do this? Yes. Thank you. Yesterday, we recognized the first recipient of the Tim Finchem Leadership Award presented by CapTech to Michael Brown with First Tee Philadelphia. And today, we are excited to recognize our second honoree, David Roden. David joined, yes. David joined the board of directors for First Tee Greater Sacramento in 2009. The board was in a period of transition and the organization was facing true financial concerns. Due to his commitment to the organization, Dave was elevated to board chair in just 2 years, and he quickly set the organization back on the path to success and sustainability. David made 2 critical first steps. First, he hired Angie Dixon as the executive director. And secondly, he worked to establish a healthy relationship between the board and the staff while also clarifying the roles of each. We are first and foremost a fund development board was a mantra he would repeat at nearly every board meeting. He led by example, raising over $500,000 for the chapter during his time on the board. Dave established a number of healthy practices for the organization, including a clear plan for board leadership development and succession, a strong give and get policy, and many of the practices embedded in what you just heard from Joan Garry, as well as First T's benchmarking tool. Dave made his impact on the chapter while also leading Safe Credit Union so well that he was named the most admired CEO by the Sacramento Business Journal. He is slated to retire from both his professional job and his work at the chapter at the end of this year, though he has confirmed he will not stop fundraising for the organization. As Dave ends his years of service, we believe it is most fitting to recognize your tireless efforts and absolute dedication to leadership for the First Tee, Greater Sacramento, and our mission. Dave, please join me on stage with Tim Finchem to accept this award.
Please welcome back to the stage First Tee's CEO, Greg McLaughlin.
What an exciting couple of days we've had this week, and it's really amazing to me to listen to all the feedback that I received from each of you and what we can do to improve what we're doing, at the PGA, at the PGA Tour, at the First Tee. I'm introducing Jay Monahan from the PGA Tour, so I want to make sure I get that all right. So that's what I was thinking. But we have a lot of great ideas that have come out of this meeting, and really that's the purpose of this meeting, is to hear and get feedback. And I laid out an agenda for 2023 that we're looking at going forward, and there's a lot more. We haven't even touched on the work that we're going to do with our alumni, which is just such a valuable part of the First Tee, and you've met a lot of them and had an opportunity to experience what this program has done for them. We've talked a little bit about what we're calling First Tee University, which is an exciting opportunity to provide more resources and educational learnings about the work that we're doing, and to try and continue to provide more resources really for you all, coaches, board members, CEOs, and do what we can to continue to really muscle build what we're doing as an organization. So this is my last opportunity to thank all of you. And as I said yesterday, you all have great opportunities to do a lot of things in life. Whether you're a staff member or you're a volunteer, you can put your energy into a lot of things, and we're grateful that you've put your energy into the First Tee, so thank you very much. So transitioning a little bit now, you just had an opportunity to hear from Jane, and most of you all know, if you've been here any appreciable amount of time, that the First Tee would not exist without Tim Finchem. Tim had a vision for what this organization could become, and I'm sure for him, as he reflects, looking back 25 years, he'll get an opportunity, and I'm sure that the feelings run very, very deep for him. But I say that, and I also say that we wouldn't be in the position we are today and poised for what I think is the next 25 years without the leadership of Jay Monahan. When I took this job in 2018, I said to Jay, here's a great opportunity for us to take the First Tee and move it closer to the PGA Tour in creation of a new 501c3, which is the PGA Tour First Tee Foundation. And Jay agreed. The 5 founding partners that created this organization have been instrumental, but it really is the PGA Tour, and now under Jay's leadership, that is going to take the First Tee to the next level and will parallel this organization really for the next 25 years. So with that said, it's my honor to introduce the commissioner of the PGA Tour, Jay Monahan.
Good afternoon, everyone. What a special moment in time last night was. To be in the room and to hear Kelly, Hannah, Drake, to hear Mr. Blank, to hear Mr. Womack, to hear Mr. Barrow, and to do that in the context of 25 years of history was really a very special night. And I was honored to be in the room. And I'm honored to be in the room with you all today as we close out this awesome week together. Before I say anything, I want to recognize 2 of my colleagues who also serve on the Board of Governors of First Tee, Ron Price, Chief Operating Officer of the PGA Tour, and Allison Keller. If you guys would stand up, please. And on behalf of the entire Board of Governors, we are grateful for the commitment of every one of you in this room. You've heard it countless times, and I'm going to say it again. The work you are doing is so important in today's world. Young people are truly facing new and different challenges every single day. Thank you for all you have done and for all you're going to do in the years ahead. Congratulations to the many award winners, and I am delighted to see an award named in honor of my predecessor, Tim Finchem. Tim, I hope you take great pride in this moment for First Tee. 25 years ago this week, you had a vision to launch a youth development program that introduced the game of golf and its inherent values to young people. And look where this organization is today. Please join me in giving a nice round of applause one more time for our founder, Tim Finchem. As we celebrate 25 years of First Tee, it's important to note how the organization has grown since its inception in 1997, evolving to the point that First Tee is now literally part of the PGA Tour family through the First Tee Foundation. That familial tie has deep roots. From day one, both organizations have upheld the values of golf while using the game's impact and reach to improve the lives of others. We are facing challenging times in the world, and our 2 organizations are needed today more than ever. As we enter 2023, the PGA Tour and First Tee are on parallel paths as we both continue to listen, learn, adapt, and grow. Our PGA Tour members, our players, continue to engage and use their platform to enable further impact. You met Will Zalatoris yesterday. I heard about his generous donation to First Tee. He is a shining example of what makes our athletes so special. The PGA Tour is approaching $3.5 billion all-time in charitable impact. And the 2 PGA Tour events here, the AT&T Byron Nelson and the Charles Schwab Challenge, have played a massive role in bettering their communities through beneficiaries including First Tee, the Momentous Institute, and Folds of Honor. Greg and his leadership team, Kelvin, Jen, Jane, Guy, have followed the same path in impacting every chapter throughout the country. First T, as you know, is relaunching and has relaunched an enhanced curriculum and technology-based platform to reach more young people and connect with them in a meaningful way. We continue to make coaches who serve as mentors to our young people the center of the programs we deliver. Youth safety remains a top priority, ensuring that First Tee kids will feel safe in every First Tee facility they visit. My sincere thanks to everyone involved with First Tee, both past and present. I am extremely proud of how you've worked selflessly in finding new and better ways to introduce and teach the game of golf and life to young people. As we celebrate 25 years together here in Dallas, I urge you to double down on your efforts in inspiring positive change for so many kids and teenagers when you arrive back at your respective chapters. Please do so knowing that you have the full backing of your peers and you have the full backing of the PGA Tour. Over the last few years at the PGA Tour, we've sharpened our focus on diversity, equity, and inclusion. We've spent a lot of time listening to understand. We've learned that there isn't a single solution or one-size-fits-all approach to addressing the inequities and injustices our country continues to face. Experiences differ, issues are complex, and we must invest the time, not only the dollars, in understanding how we can be a resource. We are uniquely structured to bring our tournaments and corporate partners together to help organizations that drive equity efforts in communities. That is where First Tee comes in. PGA Tour is proud of our support and alignment. And we are also extremely proud that First Tee is an industry leader in the DEI space. The work you're doing to connect with people from all backgrounds in your communities is critical. And I'm thankful to each of you for keeping DEI work so central to First Tee's mission. Transitioning to our next speaker. A great, great man and someone very close to the game of golf on so many levels. He is an icon in the business community. His accomplishments and recognitions in the business world are unparalleled, and I will name a few. Randall Stephenson served as Chief Executive Officer of the AT&T Corporation for 15 years. From 2014 to 16, Randall was chairman of the United States Business Roundtable, which is an association of top 200 CEOs of the leading corporations of America. In 2021, Randall was inducted into the Texas Business Hall of Fame, an organization that recognizes top business leaders in the state of Texas. He joins Warren Buffett, Ross Perot Jr., and other Texas business luminaries. Randall serves on several publicly traded boards and has been a valued member of the PGA Tour Policy Board as a volunteer for the last 10 years. Randall has also been active in support of philanthropic youth development programs. While CEO at AT&T, Randall led AT&T's $550 million signature philanthropic initiative, AT&T Aspire. This program drove innovation and education to promote student success in school and the workplace. He also led AT&T's breakthrough It Can Wait campaign, an important education and awareness program to reduce distracted driving. The program, remarkably, has amassed more than 40 million pledges of support. Since 2005, he served on the board of directors of Boy Scouts of America and served as their 36th chairman from 2016 to 2018. It's my pleasure to introduce our keynote speaker today, Randall Stephenson.
Thank you, Jay. I've been working with Jay for a long time, and we've been going through some little battles over the last few months. And I got to tell you, if you're ever going to be in a battle, you want him in your foxhole. I'm here to tell you. He's become, I think, one of the best CEOs in America, seriously, and obviously the best commissioner in all professional sports, in my opinion. Tim Finchem, is he out there? Good to see you, Tim. I saw you last night. But talk about somebody who also changed the complexion of golf and did some amazing things as a commissioner of the PGA Tour and then with the First Tee. It's just, it's an honor to be here with you, Tim, and good to see you. I want to start by saying thank you. And I mean, thank you to the board of First Tee, all of the volunteers, the staff, and my thanks are for the simple reason that what you guys are doing, you're investing your time, and I guess you folks on the staff, you're investing careers in teaching character, teaching integrity, teaching leadership to young people. And if you think about our country, there aren't many organizations these days that are at scale teaching those kind of character traits and integrity to our young people. Maybe outside of the military, you're hard-pressed to find many of them. And so I personally don't think there's anything we need more than that right now. And I just want to express my appreciation for what you do. It's really great. And I also want to call out your youth safety program. You've probably heard more about this than you want to hear over the last couple of days. But speaking as the former chairman of the Boy Scouts of America, I probably come from a place of knowledge about this. And I will tell you, training every single adult in youth safety practices is a non-compromise. And I love seeing what you're doing in that regard, because at the end of the day, parents are entrusting their kids to you. And it is critical that you make it clear that youth safety is the #1 priority for this organization. And I think you're doing that by virtue of your practices. So hats off to you for that. You know, I have a few hundred people here, women and men, that are touching a couple of million lives, young lives, every single year. And I was thinking about what I wanted to talk to you about, and I thought what I would do is share something that's been on my mind a lot over the last couple of years. And what it deals with is a growing threat to our young people that I believe is working to counter a lot of the good that you're trying to accomplish in the First Tee. And so let me explain what I mean by that, because it starts with the last 40 years, we have seen 3 technology waves that are unlike anything we've seen in this country, maybe since the combustion engine or electricity. We have seen personal computing and all that brought in terms of the change in lifestyle in the workplace with the PC back in the 1980s. That was followed by the internet and the impact that the internet has had on society. And then in 2007, that was taken to a whole different level with the mobile internet, and attached to that, social media. And each one of these waves has fundamentally changed how each of us work, how we play, how we live. But that last one, the mobile internet and social media, has brought something very new to us. And what it has brought is a new social contract. And that contract goes something like this. We have all said, social media, you're welcome to all of our information. You're welcome to our location, wherever we are, we're using our smartphone. You're welcome to our likes and our dislikes and some of the deepest seated emotions that we carry. You're welcome to that, and you're welcome to use that in exchange for, I get free use of your product. And in our instinct in this society is to say, well, what's wrong with that? I like free. Free's good. What could possibly be wrong with that? And that's exactly the question that's been on my mind as it relates to our young people. What could possibly go wrong with that? At AT&T, we had a front row seat to this technology revolution. In fact, the integrated circuit itself was invented by AT&T. And that little invention has been at the very core of this technology revolution that we've been experiencing, because the integrated circuit became what? The silicon chip. No silicon chip, no computer. No computer, no smartphone. No smartphone, young people, it's hard for you to conceive of this, but no Instagram, no TikTok, no YouTube. And in my 14 years as CEO of AT&T, we have gone from 2G to 3G to 4G to 5G technology. We're now working on 6G, and this high-speed mobile connectivity has changed the very fabric of how we operate as a society. I remember I was reflecting on this back in 2005, my first meeting with Steve Jobs and his team. And Steve was describing this device that he wanted to run on the AT&T network. Obviously, that device was the iPhone. And we actually became the exclusive carrier of that iPhone for 5 years as that thing was launched. And I remember watching the traffic on our network as that device was launched, and it was exploding. And it was clear that something very radical was happening in how humans were behaving. There was a human behavioral implication to what we were seeing on these networks, and it was big. Now, parallel with this, about the same time, I am walking through the parking garage, and I hear my name called out. And this young man calls out to me. He couldn't have been 28, 29 years old, runs over to me and introduces himself as Mark Zuckerberg, the founder of Facebook. And he had been with my people talking through how he could take his website, Facebook, and make it into a mobile application, because mobility, he said, was everything, and it was the future of Facebook, and he kind of figured it out, right? He went out and bought Instagram, he put his Facebook on an app, and Facebook, even after its market collapse over the last few months, is still a $235 billion company. And as you look at it, Apple and Facebook were kind of the two early winners in this mobile internet revolution. Then along came Google with YouTube, Amazon, Microsoft has done quite well. And in fact, if you look at the early winners of this mobile internet revolution, there are 5 companies that have done quite well. They call them the FAME: Facebook, Amazon, Apple, Microsoft, and Google. Their combined market cap is now $7 trillion, and this is after a significant collapse of market capitalization. This mobile internet has been good to these companies. And these trillion-dollar businesses have been built around a really basic premise of creating a very hyper-engaging experience for their users. And this is where my concern for our young people comes in. Because maximizing revenues in the world of social media involves doing one thing: maximize user engagement. And what does that mean? What that means is the more time you spend on your smartphone, the more insights that are gained about you. And the more insights that are gained about you, the more the content that's delivered to you can be tailored to you, curated to you, and delivered to you so that it's even more engaging for you. And greater engagement of your time means greater value of you to advertisers. And so there's this really powerful incentive to create these compulsive and even addictive experiences for young people. Anybody watch Bill Maher on HBO? I've paraphrased what he said. He did a piece on this, and I had to paraphrase it because it's Bill Maher and we have young people in the audience. But if I could paraphrase, he said, the tycoons of social media have to admit they're just tobacco farmers in t-shirts selling an addictive product to children. Because let's face it, checking your likes is the new smoking. Kind of provocative, isn't it? Netflix produced a documentary called Social Dilemma. And if you're an adult working with young people, please watch this documentary. It's very compelling. And they made a provocative observation. They said the people that are engaging with these products are not called customers. They're called users. And what's their tongue-in-cheek point about calling them users? Their point is a user is what we call people who engage in illicit drugs. And there are real physiological responses to the likes and dislikes on social media. This has been researched. It's been shown that there are dopamine-type reactions similar to what you get from alcohol and drug use. So I think we have to pause and ask ourselves something. What are the long-term effects of an always-on connected device in our pockets? A device is constantly vibrating with a TikTok post or an Instagram like or a retweet. What are the implications on our children of a technology that's chronically stimulating them to grab a smartphone? We heard Drake last night refer to this and the effect that it had on him and how he made some life changes around this. And I thought it was very interesting to hear him discuss that. My wife and I, Lanice, On New Year's Eve this past year, we're having dinner at a very nice restaurant with a couple of friends. And seated at a table over here near us was a very young couple. They had to be in their 20s, dressed beautifully. They had a nice bottle of wine. And we caught ourselves probably inappropriately watching them too much. And it was interesting. What they spent the entire evening doing was staring at their respective iPhones. They maybe said 50 words to each other that entire dinner. And this experience is not uncommon. And I think what we have to acknowledge is that it's probably not good. I listened to Tim Ferriss recently interview a Harvard professor named Cal Newton. And Cal Newton's the author of several books on the topic of digital addiction. He wrote a book, Digital Minimalism, and write that down. If you haven't read it, you need to read this. It's very, very interesting. He did a research project, and that was the basis of the book. And he asked his students at Harvard to work with him on a study. And he wanted them to take a 30-day digital detox period. And he thought, maybe I can get 20 kids to come work with me on this so that I can begin to get some data and some information. He didn't get 20 kids. He got 1,600 kids wanting to participate in this. And the book's fascinating. If I could summarize the premise of the book, you had 1,600 kids that were swirling around a digital toilet bowl going down a drain, and they couldn't figure out how to get themselves out of it. What Newton showed, and I think what we all have to acknowledge, is that we do have a problem. And this is a problem that's brewing in every developed economy around the world. I mean, just watch our children and watch them closely. Watch people in restaurants. We're really not interacting with each other. Our young people are being consumed by the addictive draw of these technologies, and there are going to be casualties from this. And I think the casualties we're beginning to see, the casualties are going to be things like creativity, inventiveness, ingenuity, excellence, and maybe even faith. Because these are disciplines that require concentration, they require extensive meditation, they require focus. And that is not exactly the byproduct of a world immersed in tech and social media. Hear me on this. Technology is amazing. And I hope you don't misinterpret what I'm saying about the folks in Silicon Valley, because I think they are national treasures. What they do is amazing. And we don't blame the CEO of Hershey if my kid gets fat. We limit my kid's intake of chocolate. And I think that's our challenge with technology. We have to teach our young people how to make the technology work for them rather than them working for the technology, feeding it an endless supply of intimate, detailed data about and on themselves. We have to find ways to step in and guard them against the addictive nature of these technologies. And this is where First Tee comes in. And this is where I think what you do is so important. You're getting kids outside. You're getting them competing, you're getting them experiencing nature and beauty. They're learning the virtues of the game of golf. As I said at the very beginning, you're building character. You're building integrity. You're offering some engaging alternatives that lead to desirable outcomes. We have to focus on that. So what I'll do is I'll end this session and in my time here by issuing a challenge to each of you. And by the way, this is a challenge I issue to myself. That is, let's set the right example for our young people. I don't think we can be challenging our youth to exercise restraint if we have our nose addictively attached to a small screen all day, every day, can we? I challenge you to take Newton's challenge, and that is, take a short digital detox period. I wouldn't recommend 30 days. I don't think I could do 30 days. I would recommend 2 days. 2 days, take a weekend. Step away from email, from text, from iPhones, from iPads, social media. When I was CEO of AT&T, I disciplined myself to do this regularly. So if I could do it then, you can do it as well. And take these 2 days to do something. Very carefully assess your priorities. And then go out and rebuild your digital experience around your priorities. There's nothing wrong with the digital media. but center it around your priorities. Build your experience with intentionality. Each app should have a purpose, and that purpose should support your priorities. And what I will tell you is, if you commit to doing this, you will see results. You'll see new creativity in yourself. You'll see productivity enhanced. And you're going to experience periods of reflection that you might not have done for a while. I am absolutely convinced this is an important moment in time for our youth. I really feel strongly about this, and I suspect you're seeing what I'm seeing. I don't think this is original on my part. And if that's the case, I would really encourage you and plead with you to reflect on what I've said here this afternoon. I think that you, the First Tee, are in a really unique place to make a difference in these kids' lives. And you've been very gracious with your time. You've been patient. I thank you for listening, but again, thank you most for the time you're engaging in our young people. It really matters. Thank you very much.
Return to the Mac. Get up what it is, what it does, what it is, what it isn't. Looking for a better way to get up out of bed instead of getting on the internet and checking a new hit. Me get up. First shot, come strut walking. A little bit of humble.
What an incredible couple of days this has been. I am overwhelmed with emotions, but mostly I'm just really excited and motivated and ready to make the next 25 years even better than the last 25. The Innovators Forum participants have been working hard this week, and they've been working on community service projects. And I invite you to join us right after this session across the hall in the Senator's Lecture Hall to hear what they've been working on. I'm really excited, so please join me. And then tonight there's a Topgolf Social, if you bought a ticket for that. The buses will leave at 5 p.m. out of the atrium entrance, and your name will be on a list, so you don't have to wear your name badge for that event. If you're not going to Topgolf, I will say, stick around and continue to network. It's so fun to watch that happen here. And get out and enjoy this beautiful city. And speaking of cities, I am excited to say that we are taking the Network Summit in 2024 to Phoenix. It's a really beautiful property, the Arizona Grand, and I think you'll really enjoy it. I know Aaron and the team are excited to welcome us there. And help us plan for that meeting. In about an hour or so, you should have the survey from this meeting in your inbox. So please let us know what we did well, what we can improve, and how to make Phoenix even better. I am so proud of the work that this network has accomplished over the last 25 years. The impact that you and all of our chapters across the country and around the world, the meaningful and lasting impact that you're having on young people is incredible. But don't take it from me, take it from them.
Because of the First Tee, I've grown from a shy, scared boy to an outgoing, energetic young man.
Because of First Tee, I know that I have what it takes to succeed.
Because of First Tee, my life has completely changed for the better.
Because of First Tee, I'll be the first one in my family to attend college.
Because of First Tee, I am a game changer.
A game changer is just being someone who takes opportunities to learn about themselves and better themselves before going out there and helping the world.
I want to go into medicine, so being able to change medicine or something like that, just having an impact on someone is just a game changer's move for me.
Normally I'm more quiet and more reserved, and I'm not willing to speak out. But being here with First Tee has really encouraged me to step out, be a leader, and going home I can take what I've learned and help others in my community and give back.
I hope to make new friends that will last a lifetime and learn new things about myself that I wouldn't learn on the regular basis.
When I started in the program, I was shy. I was extremely shy. On the first day, I actually cried on the drop-off because I didn't want to go there. 9 years later, when I graduated, I was able to stand in front of a group and give a talk about how important First Tee was to my life. So when I say that the First Tee greatly improved my confidence, it's insane how much my coaches did for me.
Because of First T, I have become a more well-rounded individual. I've learned patience and perseverance.
I've gotten to learn a lot about myself in terms of I built up a lot of confidence.
In my local chapter, our coaches always make sure that you're comfortable and you stay true to yourself.
You have to give it a try and like kind of go for it, because once you're in it, you don't want to leave.
I feel like it's the most inclusive organization. My coaches have helped me so much with not even just golf, just as a person in general. I can always go to them no matter what.
And they all put on me different skills, golf skills, but also life skills. And because of that, it's made me into who I am, and I've seen it shaped everyone around me in the First Tee program.
First Tee has taught me a lot, and I just want to pass that down to future generations. And everyone comes from different backgrounds. It's different viewpoints, and build up on each other. And First Tee is just great.
That collaboration and that trust in one another is something that this program and that First Tee does so well, and something that I think is going to be so important going forward.
In the 7 years that I've been with First Tee, it has been a life-changing experience that's gotten me through some rough times. And I look forward to continuing on my journey that you have so graciously helped me with. Because of First Tee.
Because of First Tee.
Because of First Tee, I gained confidence.
Because of First Tee.
Gracias a First Tee. Because of First Tee, I am a game changer.
Soy una cambiadora del juego.
I am a game changer.
I am a game changer.
I'm a game changer.
I am a game changer.
We are game changers!
That's pretty cool, huh? Our participants, when they join First Tee, make a commitment to being a game changer. So what does that mean? A game changer uses good judgment. They collaborate with others. They grow through challenge. A game changer builds positive self-identity, and they pursue goals. Our communities need game changers. What did Joan say? She said our society is desperate for what we do. We need game changers like those that are sitting here in front of me. I want to thank you for coming to this meeting. I told you I was full of emotion. I want to thank you for coming to this meeting, and I want to thank you for being game changers. I love you too. I hope you have safe travels home, and we will see you really soon. Thank you.